abortion rights in those states.
Purpose is to oppose women's reproductive rights. I mean, you weren't, when you say you did not take a part in it, what exactly does that mean?
I had no active role or participation in any campaign relating to that.
Did you say that gay marriage would affect our rights under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and free exercise of religion?
Again, the position that I was taking there was that in the context of...
Since when did believing in the Constitution become a disqualifier for public service in America? Just watch this little circus act in the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse grilling Judicial Nominee Mr. Dunlap. And let me tell you, if you ever needed proof that the left is obsessed with digging into people's personal beliefs to disqualify them from public service unless they fit the radical Democrat mold, here it is, in living color. This is the Prodigy Unfiltered.
Mr. Dunlap, it appears that you were active in Maine against a ballot initiative legalizing same-sex marriage. Is that true?
I believe you're referencing simply an op-ed that I published that expressed at the time my disagreement with the theft of political signs through that
If you were
process.
not active against that ballot initiative, why would you be engaged about political signs?
I lived in the area in which I observed that political signs were being stolen, and in my view, the First Amendment
That
is
was,
there.
in your testimony to us is that that was only about political signs, that you did not take an active part in the anti-same-sex marriage ballot initiative.
I did not play a part in that ballot initiative, no.
I'm sorry, say
I
again?
did not take a part in that ballot initiative, no.
Even as a advocate? I mean, you weren't, when you say you did not take a part in it, what exactly does that mean?
I had no active role or participation in any campaign relating to that.
Did you say that gay marriage would affect our rights under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and free exercise of religion?
Again, the position that I was taking there was that in the context of that ongoing political campaign, that there were thefts of political signs, and I expressed my disapproval of that. The political speech is central to the First Amendment.
But you also said that allowing gay marriage would affect our rights under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and free exercise of religion. So you at least took that public position, did you not?
I did.
Which is a little bit different than taking no public position. You also supported a Maine bill entitled An Act to Allow a Wrongful Death Cause of Action for the Death of an Unborn Child. Could that statute be applied to a woman seeking an abortion or to a doctor providing an abortion?
So that proposal would have brought Maine's law into line with that of all other New England states. It does not apply in the context of abortion. It would have given grieving parents the opportunity to recover for a tortious death, as that was defined in the statute.
But not one provided, not one related to the woman obtaining medical care.
Again, that statute exists throughout New England except for the state of Maine, and it has not affected abortion rights in those states.
When you were in law school, you interned for a nonprofit whose purpose is to oppose women's reproductive rights and to oppose marriage equality and to oppose the right of LGBTQ couples to adopt children. Did you intern for that organization because you supported or shared those views?
I was a Blackstone Fellow. I participated in a program that offered training in First Amendment law, draws from a wide variety of law schools across the country, and offered the opportunity as well for an internship. I spent my internship that summer as a research assistant for Professor Garnett at the University of Notre Dame.
Do you have choices in what group you interned with?
I applied to that for that job.
You
yes.
applied for that job for that group that has as its purpose to oppose women's reproductive rights, to oppose marriage equality, and to oppose the right of LGBTQ couples to adopt children, correct?
I applied for the Blackstone Fellowship, which is run by ADF, which is a highly successful law firm.
And you chose to do that internship at ADF, correct? You weren't forced there, you weren't driven there, this was your choice to do that. You picked that internship and you picked that organization.
That's correct.
And yet you say that you had no view on the same-sex marriage question in Maine, even though you devoted yourself in law school to interning for an organization that opposes same-sex marriage.
I don't believe I ever testified that I did not have a view. I said I did not participate in the campaign.
Yeah, well, your version of participate seems a little squirrely to me when you're actually writing op-eds related to that question. I will leave it there because my time has expired, but I hope that we'll get real answers, Mr. Chairman, to our questions for the record. I've been told that Republican members are telling witnesses that they actually don't need to answer questions for the record. And we've seen sham answers to questions for the record. This committee is spiraling away from being the least bit responsible with respect to our oversight. And I would hate to think that QFRs no longer matter in the Judiciary Committee of the United States Senate. Thank you.
Here's the gist. Senator Whitehouse basically comes out swinging. Mr. Dunlap, weren't you active against same-sex marriage in Maine? And Dunlap says, no, I wasn't part of the campaign. I just wrote an op-ed about political signs being stolen. But Whitehouse can't leave it there. No, he digs, pokes, and tries to twist this into, so you took a public position on the First Amendment and religious freedom. That must mean you were campaigning against gay marriage. Now, stop right there. Think about what's happening. A guy writes about stolen political signs, which, by the way, is a First Amendment issue, and suddenly the Senate wants to put him in the dock as if he committed some great political crime. This is how the left operates. If you even hint that you believe religious freedom matters, you're painted as the enemy. And here's where I stand. He was right. The push to redefine marriage absolutely raised legitimate concerns about free speech and freedom of religion. This isn't some conspiracy theory. We've seen it happen: bakers, florists, people of faith being sued, harassed, driven out of business for not towing the woke line. Whitehouse wants to frame it like even raising that point is unacceptable. Well, last time I checked, the First Amendment still exists, and you don't have to surrender your beliefs to work in public service. Or maybe that's what they want. Then Whitehouse pivots to abortion because of course he does. He asks Dunlap about a bill he supported to allow wrongful death lawsuits for unborn children. Dunlap explains clearly, it wouldn't impact abortion rights. It's just about giving grieving parents justice. And by the way, that same law is on the books in every other New England state without affecting abortion. But Whitehouse isn't asking to clarify the law. He's doing what Democrats always do: plant the idea in the public's mind that protecting unborn life in any way is dangerous. It's the fear-mongering playbook. Now here's the part that really got me shaking my head. When Dunlap was in law school, he did an internship through the Blackstone Fellowship, run by the Alliance Defending Freedom. That's a Christian legal organization that defends religious liberty and traditional values. Whitehouse goes after him like this is some kind of criminal record. You weren't forced. You chose to intern there. You knew they opposed abortion and same-sex marriage. You chose this. Yeah, Senator. He chose to work with a respected law firm that's won major cases at the Supreme Court defending the Constitution. And what's your point? That holding traditional moral views automatically makes someone unfit for public service? That's the left's unspoken rule. Agree with us, or you're done. Let's flip the script for a second. Imagine a judicial nominee who interned for Planned Parenthood, or the ACLU, or some radical left-wing activist group. You think Sheldon Whitehouse would bat an eye? Of course not. He'd be bragging about it as proof of their commitment to justice. But if you worked for a pro-life, pro-family, pro-freedom organization, the Democrats treat you like you're some dangerous extremist. This isn't about Mr. Dunlap's qualifications. This is about ideological gatekeeping. They want to send a message to every law student, every aspiring judge, every American watching: if you hold conservative, Christian, patriotic beliefs, don't even bother applying. They don't just disagree with us. They want to erase us from the public square entirely. That's not democracy, folks. That's authoritarianism wrapped in a Senate hearing. Whitehouse ends his time whining about Republicans supposedly telling witnesses they don't have to answer questions for the record. Funny how the Democrats never complain when their own nominees dodge and weave. Remember how Biden's judges refuse to define basic terms like woman or what is protected under the Second Amendment? They call that nuance. But when a conservative nominee won't give them the soundbite they want, it's evasion. The hypocrisy is staggering. So here's my takeaway. Mr. Dunlap handled himself well, even under bad faith questioning. But this whole exchange proves that if we want honest, constitutional judges, we've got to fight like hell to get them confirmed. The left will use every smear, every half-truth, every guilt by association trick in the book to keep them out. It's not just about one man's nomination. It's about whether America's courts will be guided by the Constitution or by the ever-changing demands of the woke mob. And if you think they'll stop at judicial nominees, you're dreaming. They'll come for teachers, military officers, pastors, business owners, anyone who stands in the way of their cultural takeover. If you love your country, if you value free speech, religious liberty, and the right to think for yourself, now's the time to speak up. Share this video, call your senators, and let them know you won't stand by while good Americans are disqualified for believing in the very principles this nation was built on. Because at the end of the day, viewers' freedom isn't defended in silence. It's defended when patriots like you and me speak the truth, loud and clear. Fade out over waving flag and soft instrumental of God Bless America.